Hi, I'm Kate Dorsey. Welcome to Fun, Fierce Freedom, how to build the self-confidence you need to win in every area of your life. I am so excited that you're here today, and I am super excited to be talking to Ava. Hey, Ava, how you doing?
Really good. Happy to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. Yay. So I would love to get started with telling our audience a little bit about what you do and how you found yourself doing that.
Well,
You're like, long story. Here we go.
it's a lifelong journey, and it's always evolving, and how I talk about what I do keeps changing because I keep changing. So
That's all of us.
yeah, of course. So I've always had a passion for personal freedom. That's been something that's been really important to me, for myself and whoever wants to benefit from my journey and my wisdom and experiences. And my idea of personal freedom has very much changed and morphed over the years. You could call it enlightenment, awakening, empowerment, mindfulness. It can be so many different words. But it's in my own life experience, it's really about being home with myself, being comfortable with who I am, and being able to be there with myself, even in the most challenging circumstances, internal or external. And life has brought me all kinds of experiences, like all of us. And it has continued to deepen that desire and that ability. And because that has made such a tremendous difference in my own life, it feels so natural to share it. It's just what brings me the most joy, to be in a conversation with someone, whether it's someone I meet in a coffee shop or someone I've mentored for a long time, and just see that shift when the light comes on and there's this either a great aha or just a breath of, oh, and it's just peace all of a sudden, which is always there, but it's covered up by all these other stuff that we think we need to do and think and feel. And
yeah. So when you were talking, my head literally went to like, are you talking about weathering the storms of life? Like how there are things that are happening in our lives that are upsetting, and yet we still have that power, honestly, Ava, right? That power to come back and to be at peace.
yeah.
So that's so interesting, the timing of this interview, because I literally just went through this experience with my boyfriend, and it was like not good. Like everything was falling apart and I was feeling distraught. And yet I also really resonate with that ability to shift my emotions and to feel good despite what is happening around me.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Oh yeah, no, it's not easy. Like there, you still need to feel your emotions, but then it's like you can come home at the same time.
Yeah, that's where I find it is so tricky in this transformational world and spiritual world, and how it's talked about. Absolutely, I feel it's possible to live in complete peace regardless of what's going on, but most people are not able and capable of doing that. So talking about it that way is what tends to happen, is that we start suppressing our emotions or bypassing or ignoring or pushing down, and that's not what it's about at all. So for me, being able to stay in that peace, the peaceful place, that piece of total acceptance and that deep out breath, and just, okay, everything is okay. It doesn't mean I don't feel distraught or angry or sad or have pain or my life is in a mess. Like all of that can go on. Like I can have a lot of emotion and my stomach is in a knot, and there's still this place that I can just shift my attention and awareness to, and oh, okay, there it is. Oh, all is well. Everything doesn't go away.
No, it's still there. It's just, but you just move where you are. So it's like
Exactly.
This is all still happening. And it's also like, I love what you just said. Like, the point is not to suppress your feelings. Like, I mean, I cried hysterically. Like, I like was really like, I mean, I think my mom was like, oh my goodness. Like, how are you, like, you know, like, I mean, and it needed to come out. And if I hadn't let that out, I honestly would say that it would be hard to have shifted into, and I'm okay. And I can handle whatever is happening and whatever transpires. And if this is it, I will survive.
Yeah. Well, we
And
know
I feel good.
everything is ultimately energy, and even the word emotion, energy in motion, emotion, they need to move. So when something is arising within me, that emotion needs to finish its cycle, so to speak.
Yeah.
And if I don't allow it, it's going to be held within me, and it will come up at some point. It might be 10 years later, but it will.
Yeah. And out in a totally different way than you would have preferred. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I think that's so important, because like the reality is, a lot of folks, like, I understand that people don't like to feel pain. I get that. And I would say that that is just, like, I mean, of course you don't want to feel that way. And yet at the same time, that needs to come. It reminds me, I like to compare emotions to a roller coaster ride. Mm-hmm. You're on board. You are significantly better following that through than you are getting off. You can't get off of a roller coaster ride in the middle. Or like, what are you going to do? Like, on the way up, I'm out. Or like, I did try to do that once on a log. I'm terrified of roller coasters. On a water log, when I was like, I want out. And my friends are like holding me down. But like, in terms of an emotion, like, you can't, like, if you stop it, you're stopping the natural evolution and the natural process. And you're actually, the truth is, you're making things worse for yourself, because you need that release. Like, when I was crying like that, I needed that release.
Yeah.
I couldn't see anything else. Mm-hmm. I couldn't see possibilities. And I definitely, in that moment, could not shift my emotions, because I needed to ride the roller coaster all the way through.
Yeah. But with practice, it's possible, and maybe you can do that, but definitely with practice, it's possible to, in the midst of that, when you cannot shift your emotions, it's just, you don't have the capability of doing that. Peace is still present. Mm-hmm. And that little shift of being able to hold at least part of your awareness on that, even if you can't shift it, makes such a difference.
Yeah, because it's like a knowing that, like, you're going to come home. You're going to return. Like, this too shall pass.
Yeah.
You know,
and I'm there. It's not like it goes away. It's there. It's just something else is overtaking it right now, like a cloud cutting off the sunlight. The sun is still there. It's the same thing.
Right. It's just slightly covered up, and it's going to peek through too.
We'll come back. Yeah. And we can learn how to bring it back consciously. And I do believe it's possible to live in that place all the time. And I feel I can have one leg in both pretty much all the time. But I'm not at peace all the time. No, emotion comes and goes, and my body feels pain. And
yeah. When, like, how do you teach folks how to almost to return to that peace? How do you teach them to allow themselves to feel the emotion, and yet still recognize that this part of you, this deeper part of you, this part of you that is all, like, honestly, it's a part to me that already knows. It's like, we're living this life, but it already knows stuff. So it's like, we're really okay.
Everyone knows it, because it's what we are. We're not body, mind, and emotions. We're much, much more profound than that. And I would say most people don't come to me for what I do or say, or process or anything. They come because of what I am. And it's very much what they perceive in me, because that they perceive in me recognizes it. It's already present in everyone. So when it's present outside, there's a remembrance that happens. It stirs, because you see it in the outside, you perceive it. Mm-hmm. As for actual hands-on processes and how to do things, it's such an individual thing. I always find that question so hard to answer, because if I'm with someone who is totally in the belief that this is what I am, that's where I need to begin. And if I'm with someone who totally knows that, but hasn't yet embodied it, then that's a different process. So there's no one answer.
Yeah,
and
I see that.
And I don't even have a process per se that I have in my head that I can write down. I don't work like that. I emptied myself out. I emptied myself out, and I feel you. And then through what happens between you and I, it just comes, and I don't even know what's going to come. It's not. Yeah. It's in the moment, in this moment.
I love this. This is like, I mean, ultimately, like when you're that tapped into just being present, into just being, into just the evolution of like what's going to flow, what's going to come to the surface, and where we're like literally just mirroring things back to each other.
Yeah.
And like, I love what you shared about like people come to me because some part of them was calling out for what I already have. I love that. And I so agree with that. I see that in my own work with my own clients. Like we're literally like, we're just mirroring things back and forth. And it's just like, you came to me because there's some way of being that I possess that you resonate with.
Yeah. And often it's both ways, almost always.
I know.
Always it's both ways, that the other person is mirroring me in some way. There's something, oh yeah, look at that. And there's something new or reoccurring.
I love that you said that, because to me, I think while my clients come to me to work with me, they're often really amazing teachers for me as well.
Yeah.
That they are holding some part, maybe it's an old part, maybe it's something new, but there's always like, it's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
The evolution is that my clientele tends to morph and change as I change. Without me really, I don't sit down and redo the whole, not that I ever really did.
You're like, I got it out, we're done.
My target audience and all that kind of stuff. Like, I just don't function that way. It's more of an organic thing.
It's a draw. It's like being a magnet and trusting that you will magnetize the perfect experiences, clients, places, solutions. You know what I mean? Like just allowing life to flow through you.
When I hold a deep desire to share what I have to offer with others, that vibration goes out into the world, and those who hears the call will find me, and they do.
Right. Yeah, they do.
And then I have to stay in the trust that sometimes that flow is overwhelming and there's so many waves coming that I can't keep up with it. And other times, it would be nice if something showed up here.
Mm-hmm.
Stay in trust with that everything is, now it's time for me to maybe not be out there so much and more look here.
Yeah.
This is what life is showing me.
It's like, I so hear this because I do a lot of, I go internal on a lot of things, and it's like, let me do the work in here. And before I like move it outside of myself. So like, it's not necessarily like, what am I doing? What is the action? And this is something I learned. Like I used to be so action oriented, and I would push myself, and like keep going. And now I'm like, if I have the feeling to bring it back in, to slow down, that's what I'm going to trust. And that's what I'm going to open up to. And that's what I'm going to give time to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's also a lot of times how I raise my vibration too, where I'm like, let's move it on up.
Yeah. That's an important piece.
Yeah. Are there things that you do to help you with that?
Yeah. Taking time to just be in stillness. It's really just slowing down and tapping into me beyond my physicality, like really feeling that space around me and within me. One of the easiest ways I have found most effective tools is to imagine that at the very center of my being is a the core. If you imagine the heart and then heart chakra, and then deeper than that, it's what I would call the spiritual heart or seat of the soul, the very center of your being. And to imagine a light or an opening in that center and see that as the very core of what I really am, and hold my attention on that, and then also breathe. Feel my body, my breath, and I feel the seat of my soul. And by putting those two together, I connect those two energies. And the spiritual aspect of me is peace. It is love, it is joy, and it is all of that. So just by connecting to it, that vibration starts vibrating. And if I then also feel my body and my breath,
oh, they like merge.
Really just, I've done it so much now that I just need to shift my attention there, and I can feel how it just goes, oh yeah, okay.
Wow.
Because my body now is
tuned
connection. So I only need to make the connection, and my body recognizes it and relaxes. And also my mind. It's not. I built that connection so much now that it's very easy. It wasn't easy in the beginning, but it's such a simple thing. It's uncomplicated. It's not difficult. You can do it anywhere. You don't have to sit in lotus position or light a candle.
Meditate for 10 hours.
Oh, that's great. But having a tool that's so simple that I can do in traffic or in the doctor's waiting office or anywhere, in a heated conversation with someone, anywhere.
I mean, I think that's a powerful place to do it. Like, it is, when we can go into that, we can start to see the other sides too, instead of holding so firmly to our viewpoint.
And by really becoming so aware of my humanness, my body, my mind, my emotions, and seeing the connection between the three of them and how they interact with each other, and then the fourth dimension of what I really am, and getting to a place of such deep respect and love for my humanness, which I did not feel before. Especially if it didn't do what I wanted it to do.
Right.
Why can't my mind be quiet? Shut up. And that kind of thing. And instead coming to really see them as my family, like different pieces of my family, and they have their own expressions. I've lived for so many years now, and there's so many life experiences held here, and my body will react to things where my mind thinks, oh, why are you reacting here? That's so silly. Or my mind will react to things where my body is completely calm, and all of that can be going on, and I can be the space that just loves it all, but being in acceptance for that. And the very starting point of that, I'm not talking of bypassing or separation in a disconnected way. It's actually the opposite. When the starting point is coming to the realization that I am not my thoughts or my emotions or my physicality, my body. There is an intelligence and awareness that embodies my body. And by separating that awareness, that intelligence from my physical experience as a body and also my outer circumstances, I'm starting that process of being able to consciously influence my physical being. And my body is always, my physical being is always affected by outer circumstances. That's a natural part of being here. Like a tree is affected by the sun and the wind and the earth, so are we. But it's also affected by the intelligence, the consciousness that I am. And if I don't really live in my physical body, I just have a tiny little piece of consciousness stuck in my mind, in my head, and operate completely from there, then all of this can be going on its own. Mm-hmm. So if something outside of me, like your boyfriend, something happens in a relationship or a conversation or at work or in traffic, this will react. My physical being will react automatically. Mm-hmm. And in a way, that's always true. It always will. But I can be present here and say, no, I would prefer to feel this way, and bring in that vibration consciously. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense.
It does, because even as you were talking, and my head went somewhere, and then I like decided to connect back in, I could just like feel the like that inner sense of just like, here we are, like we're just here, and life is unfolding around us, and there are things that are transpiring, but your ability to come back to yourself and to come back to the love that we all innately really are is right in here. Yeah. And if we just go there, we can just center back in. And so that, like, to me, that would just be something that would unfold over time, like with practice is what I mean. Like that for you to get really good at being so grounded and at being able to be like in the middle of a heated conversation or, you know, a breakdown in a relationship, that you really have to hone that by giving it time to develop and to finding that place in you over and over and over.
Yeah. And it's a process. And as I said earlier, depending on where you're at in this awakening journey, this unfoldment of being able to do this, the tools will be different. For me personally, I had a very powerful teacher for many years where I came to a place where I could be calm, centered, and happy in almost any circumstance, pretty much any circumstance. And he pushed me to get there, and constantly throwing me in the pool where I was challenged. And I mastered that. Just, no, I'm not reacting. I'm here. And I felt great. It was fantastic. What I wasn't aware of was that I was doing it by control, not by allowing. Oh. So it took a tremendous amount of energy. I had gotten to know my physical being so well. So when something would stir, I would just say, no, not going there. But I was pushing it back down.
Right, as opposed to flowing through.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that. I wasn't like in a feeling around it. But it was done by control. That's the best way I can explain it. And then I got really, really sick with Lyme disease. And it's a horrendous journey. I don't wish it on anyone. It just is a terrible, terrible thing. But oh my God, I'm so grateful because it's been my most ruthless, fantastic teacher. And that illness can take many, many different shapes, and it's so individual. But for me, it lives in my central nervous system, so it affects my emotions and my cognitive ability. And from being completely calm, centered, and happy, I went to being reactive and bitchy and crying and totally personality change. It's shifting back now, but there was a time that was really bad. And I couldn't control it because I hadn't created it. It was bacteria in my body creating it. So it's more of a chemical reaction than something that happened only from crazy thinking. And I had all the tools to deal with that. Nothing worked, which was the most scary part. And it wasn't until I came to a place where I just surrendered to the whole thing. So, okay, I've tried everything I know how to, and much more than that. Nothing works. How can I live with this? I just went 180 degrees and stopped fighting. And that started a journey of realizing, oh gosh, that's how I did it before. I did it with control. And And now when all these emotions are arising that are triggered by viruses and bacteria, I'm allowing them to flow. And that was horrible at first because I wasn't used to it. And in most societies, we're not trained or taught as young children to allow it. It's the opposite. Don't cry. Right? Strong emotions are not okay, and crying is not okay. At least that was my upbringing. And here it is, all these emotions of all kinds are just showing up all the time. I hated it.
That's a very genuine answer.
It was
understandably so too.
I felt like a failure, and like I said, bitchy and reactive, and people were responding to me like there was something wrong with me, and there was, in my opinion. And then I started like just becoming more accustomed to it, and then I started loving them. It's like, oh my God, there's such power in this, and this strong just anger flaring up, and I can just be with that. How weird. And then everything just started changing. It wasn't taking me over. It was taking me over, but not taking me over, if that makes sense. I gave it space to be whatever it wanted. And when I allowed it to move, it would do just that. It would move, and then it would be gone. It was a horrible journey getting there. Lyme is not fun, but what a gift. So fantastic. It changed my life completely. So I'm not at war with my emotions any longer.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know I was.
Right. Yeah. And you learn to surrender and allow, and it wasn't about shutting it down, but it almost sounds like it took that experience to really teach you. No, you don't think so?
Oh, no, absolutely.
Oh, okay. I was like, really? Okay. I was like, wow,
I would never, ever have gone to those emotions.
Yeah. Yeah. The depths of them, like, and like where you're like, I don't even feel like myself.
Yeah. And because I believe that about myself, that's the reflection I'm getting back, and people are just pulling away from me. Like, I don't want to be around that energy. Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't want either. I just can't get out of it.
Right. And it's not about controlling. It was really about learning to allow, and then to build into and to return to the peace amidst the chaos, amidst everything that was happening. It was like, it's been in you all along.
Yeah.
And you were just kind of going about it previously in a really controlling way. And now it was really about allowing it.
Yep.
This has just been such a fantastic interchange. I've really enjoyed talking with you. And I know you have a free gift for our audience. Would you tell them what that is?
Yes. If any of you feel inclined to explore whatever together, I have a free call. Just connect with me and let's talk. And there's also meditation, an audio file, and written text that you can download.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Thank you so much. You guys just scroll below and click the button, and it will take you straight to Ava's free gift. I don't know about y'all, but I'm definitely curious as to what her meditations are like. I'm imagining they're very soothing. And then Ava, if they're interested in working with you, if they really felt connected, that there's just, I want what she has. This is my teacher. Where should they go to find out information about you?
Well, click on the Talk with Ava and let's chat. If you want to research, look at websites first. You can go to evacharlotte.com, EVACHARLOTTE.com. And I also have a page called globalpeacemakers.net.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to have connected with you, and I hope you guys had such an amazing day, and so much love to everyone. Thank you for participating. Bye.